Do you have visual? Because I don't. Let's see. There we go. Good morning. How's everyone this morning? Hey, Southern Gal and TGR Boys and YTTC. My dog has fleas. That's hilarious. Wildflowers for the table. Kim's bookshelf. Quilt Alicious. Tatum. Welcome in, everybody. It's snowing at my house. Can you believe it? I do live in Utah, and we do have very unpredictable weather, but good grief. April 1st. Happy April Fools. It really, truly is snowing. I'm not fooling you. I know. We do live in the state of unpredictable weather. I can remember growing up, we had snow in July a couple of times. So, yeah, fun. But we do live very close to the mountains. And in the town that I live in, we have a joke because there's a street that runs north and south. And when you pass that street headed east, that's the point at which it's usually, if it's raining on the west side of that street, it's snowing on the east side. And we live past that. So it's almost always snowing where I live because we're close to the mountains. So yay. So how's everybody else doing? Hopefully you're having better weather. I don't mind it so much because this time of year it doesn't stick usually very long. It's, you get it, it comes, it's pretty for a couple hours, then it melts. So it's not too terrible. But it's still not very fun. It's kind of dreary and makes it no fun to drive. Hey, She-Wee and Beachy Bean. You had tornado weather yesterday in Georgia, but sunny today. Well, that's good, and I hope nothing happened yesterday to anyone. That's no fun. So, today, I wanted to, first of all, ask everyone to please go and bookmark all of my upcoming walk and talks, and I have two community shows scheduled this month. One on the 9th. So they look like this. So one on the 9th and one on the 23rd. And the one on the 23rd, we're going to focus on shipping again and really try and help everybody get the shipping figured out. So I have that one titled Don't Sink Your Shipping. And I'm going to try and come up with, so the Shipping 101 document that Whatnot put together is great, but it's very generic. And I felt like when they put it together, it's too generic, so it really doesn't help people make decisions about how to do their shipping. So I'm going to try and put something up or put something together that's a little bit more detailed for you guys. Oh, She-Wee woke up to snow. Where do you live, She-Wee? So anyway, get those shows bookmarked, and we're going to talk about shipping again and try and help everybody with that. Oh, Montana, yeah, that makes sense. Montana is also one of the states with a very unpredictable weather. So, and you can have things blowing like crazy and snow in July in places. So I learned my husband is like a trivia nerd. He loves interesting facts about all different kinds of things. And he was watching something the other day. Anyway, apparently in Utah, near Bear Lake, we have a place that has a sink, what's called a sink, and it has the coldest. They've registered temperatures there in the below 60, so it's technically the coldest place in the United States, including Alaska. I was like, wait a minute, contiguous or all? And he's like, no, all of the United States. So here in Utah, we have a sink, which is like a place where there's like a low, for some reason, the air settles, and then it's in limestone. And so the air doesn't have any, because normally it creates a lake condensation, but it's limestone, and so the moisture just absorbs in, and so then the cold air just kind of sinks and stays right there. So anyway, interesting fact uh, from Bert, my husband, who loves interesting facts. All right, so welcome everybody. So I have sad news. My awesome friend, Lovely Pinto, who is normally our moderator, hey Trish, good morning, has decided to go back to work full time, and she has a state job, and she will no longer be able to moderate for us. And she still will be selling occasionally. She sells fabric in our category. But I'm really sad that she's not going to be able to moderate for us anymore. She was awesome and has been an amazing friend on here for us for 2 years. So it's, yeah, really sad. So I do have a couple of other friends that are going to mod for me when they can. And if anyone's very interested in modding and would love that experience, and I know you, reach out to me. I'm happy to, have someone step up to volunteer to moderate. I'm pretty picky though, so I would have to know you and have been in your shows and all that kind of stuff. But if anyone's interested, message me. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. So yeah, she's going back to something she did before for the state, and she had been working full time up until COVID hit, and then when her kids, she had teenagers, and when her kids all got, had to start doing homeschool during COVID, she kind of just decided to quit for a couple of years, and now her kids are all, her youngest is graduating this year, so she's like, well, I might as well go back to work and get my state retirement, built up a little bit before. So it makes sense, but it's a bummer. So, and it's sad because she loves to sew and quilt and she won't have as much time for that, but life is life. All right. So let's talk about happier things. So, April is upon us. Tell me how everyone's feeling about the first 3 months of the year. So Q1 is over. And how are you feeling about what you've been able to achieve on Whatnot in these last 3 months? And we got the tongue out from Shiwi. Tell us more about that. So I think, so man, we had a rough last quarter with the elections. And I think the world's gone crazy, kind of, or at least the United States has gone crazy, and part of the world's gone crazy talking about us with everything going on politically, which I will not talk about because I don't, want to talk politics. I just want to say that it's kind of, kind of nuts out there, and the economy is still not great, and so it's been kind of crazy. I do think when the economy is crazy, that we actually have opportunities to do amazing stuff on Whatnot. So I want you all to have good, positive vibes about it. So YTTC says I'm feeling positive. I have been able to be on here more consistently Whatnot is actually doing better than other platforms I am on. I feel exactly the same way. So YTTC, I agree. Shiwi says, just dove in, been chaotic, but I feel good about the trajectory I'm on. Not sure how much future I have on Whatnot, but love reselling. Okay. I would say definitely give it the, your best try, because I think you'll be surprised how well you can do. So with that in mind, let me just make sure I have, oh, and sorry, there's some weird stuff in my auction because I moved some stuff around. But let me pin this, top 10 tips for new sellers. If you haven't copied this before, make sure you do. And just tap the picture of the document I pinned, tap it again, make it big, and screenshot it. This is your 10 commandments of what you should be doing consistently to have success on Whatnot. And I was thinking of something I needed to add to that list. Let me think about it for a second so it will come back into my mind. I was thinking about, okay, it'll come back in a minute. Anyway, so we have Wildflower saying, I had my first 2 shows over the weekend. Both went great. First one was full of nerves, second one much more comfortable. Congrats, that's awesome. So tell us what you sell, and tell me kind of a little bit about what went great about it. As far as like you just felt like you got a good audience, you sold a lot. Obviously the one marker most people will look for is how much did I sell. But a successful show when you're new, for some people it can just be that I actually got on and went live and some people came to my show. And then if you actually sell something, that's like frosting on the cake. So, tell us a little bit about that. So that's awesome. It just really depends on a lot of different factors. So Beachy Bean just signed up to sell this morning. Awesome. Not sure what direction I'll end up going in, but excited. Very cool. Congrats. So here's the cool thing about Whatnot. Other than a very few gated categories, you can sell anything on Whatnot as long as it's not against the terms. And there's very few things that are against the terms. But you can sell no matter what you get approved to sell in. If you get approved and you start going live and you're like, this just isn't what I like, or I'm not passionate about it, or it's too crowded in this category, or I don't love it, you can switch gears. You can try other things. So it's an amazing platform for that. So Wildflower says, success because I took the leap. Yay. And also sold a good amount, learned a lot, and enjoyed kind people. Yay, 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 yay. So good on all those points. Dawn asked, do you think buyers would be interested in sports team fabric? I just found sports teams into Yard Links. So Dawn, it's mixed. It's a hard sell because it's very specific, but do people buy it? Yes. I would maybe have, if you have a show that's specifically that, and advertise it out for a couple of weeks or something, so everybody knows what you're going to have, and then maybe have quite a bit of some other nice stuff with it that's kind of similar, or licensed prints or something, so that you have some other stuff if that doesn't go well. It's just so specific, because people, I think the ones that are national teams like NFL, NBA, national baseball teams, all that will go better than like college and regional, but it's still kind of tough because, it's very specific. So I hope that answers that. Um, let's see. But I will say too that a lot of the sports teams have started to go away from offering license to do fabric prints. They want to not offer that anymore because they don't like people hand making and reselling items with their logo on it. They want all the revenue from items made. And with fabric, they don't win the lawsuits on people selling things made out of fabric because the original license is licensed to the person who makes the fabric. And then after that, there's no, legality as far as you being able to make stuff out of it and resell it. They lose those lawsuits. And so a lot of them are trending away from having fabric printed with their logos on it. So in that sense, I think that type of fabric is going to become very scarce and much more in demand. So yeah, that's a little tidbit about that. Yeah, and you can't get sports team fabric very much because of that, and also because of Joann's closing. So interesting. Anyway, so anyone else want to share how they're feeling about the first quarter of the year and your experience on Whatnot? And let me think if I can remember what I wanted to add to my top 10 tips. I should have written it down the minute I thought about it, but it was at night. And you know how you have inspirations or thoughts right before you go to bed? Keep a notepad next to your bed. Write it down. The next morning, it might not make any sense because maybe you were tired. But if it did make sense, it was good that you wrote it down because now you'll remember it. And unfortunately, I did not do that. So, yeah. But yeah, when you're in business for yourself, it's always a good idea to have something to write things down when you're, just no matter where you are, because thoughts come to you. And I found this to be true for myself. If I don't write them down or put them in my phone or something, I keep a list in my notes in my phone, and I jot things down because otherwise I don't remember. And I have had some really good ideas that I've used that have been very successful. So I think that's a good thing to do, to just keep a notepad or your phone and keep notes open that you can put things in. All right. And we've got, let's see. Dawn says, I've only sold once. Sassamom helped me with moderation. It went well. I think 22 items sold. Oh, good. Yeah, I think that's great for a first show. Very good. Hey, Sassamom. Welcome in. Did you just hear your name? Because Dawn was calling you out, thanking you for your help. Let's see. Yeah, any list is awesome. Agreed. All right. And really, someone mentioned in here just a minute ago about the kind people. That's something I really want to emphasize to all of you who are hesitant or struggling to go live. There are so many nice people on here who will help you, and the ones who aren't nice they're not going to help. They're just going to come in and leave, and that's fine. So, but the ones that are nice and helpful will stay and help you and be kind and supportive and buy your stuff. So keep that in mind. There's more of the kind than there is of the other. That has been my experience. There's just a lot of people who, love being on here, love the social interaction, love being helpful, love being kind, and the rest, I just think there's way more of that than there is of the other. And so I think it's really positive. Now, that may not be true in some categories. In some categories, I think people are a little bit more rough around the edges, so to speak. But if you don't sell in those more cutthroat categories, then what I've experienced is just a lot of support and kindness and just really good, nice people. So anyway, yeah, the community on here is excellent. And YTTC is in vintage decor and books, and people have been so kind. Yeah. I mean, just in our category, fabric, crafting, quilting, sewing, the people are amazing. They come together and support each other like amazing, amazing. It's just wonderful. And I know that happens in some other categories as well. So that's great. All right. Thanks for coming in, Dawn. Have a wonderful day. So 3 Rivers Quilt, Pittsburgh. So you're setting up your quilt show for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's awesome. Have a great day. Hope it's super productive. Welcome in KMC and King of Deals. And the Guild is having their quilt show at the Loft Conference Center in Canonsburg Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's really far for me. But if anyone's close, that would be so much fun to go to. All right, bye. Have a great day. Yeah, I love quilt shows. They're fun to go to. So the little town that I live in, we actually have a very, prominent in the sense of museums. We have an art museum. And one of the things that they do every year is a quilt show. And all of the quilts, they come mostly from quilters here in Utah, but a lot of people will enter in the region their quilts. And oh my goodness, the quilts in that show are so amazing. And they do adjudicate the show, so it gets judged and they give prizes and people can sell their quilts if they want to. And it's amazing. So Shiwi is doing a flea market this weekend. Quilt Guild will be there selling fabric. Oh, will be hard to stay at my booth. Yes. Wildflower says, yes, people in this crafty fabric category are amazing. My shows were a mix of vintage fabrics, lace trims, etc. I'm happy to find kindred spirits. Yes, you're in a good place. Good place. And it's getting a little bit crowded, but honestly, the thing that's amazing is you'll always find your love group, and you'll always find times where, there's only a few people on, or just because of what you're selling, you can have great shows still. So don't be discouraged by that at all. Just, everybody has their own vibe, their own way of doing things. And, there's definitely room for everybody to come on and have success. So very fun, awesome category. All right, let's see. So I have my top 10 tips for new sellers pinned there. Make sure you screenshot that. It's just a list of all the things that people need to be doing consistently. And let me just really briefly read through them. So I've got it on my screen here. Schedule your shows and have a lot of shows scheduled. You guys, go on to new sellers accounts and they don't have multiple shows scheduled out. That's so important to have shows scheduled. That's how people find you. And when you're having a show, if you don't have another show for people to bookmark, how are they going to find you again? They might follow you, but most people's schedules are wonky. And if you want them to actually get notified, they need something to bookmark. So you've got to have more shows scheduled. Yes, I can definitely explain how to rate. It's very simple. Um, let me just come out. Okay, so to raid, all you do is click the little arrow like you're going to end, right? And what are your three options? Your three options are minimize the show, and that's the option if you just need to drop off the screen for a minute to fix something. I use it in this show because I go to check things, but this is a secondary device, so it doesn't minimize the show on the main feed. And then create a raid is your second option. Okay, so you just click that, and I'll go ahead and click it so you can see what it does. So it brings you to a screen where you can type in who you want to raid, or it gives you suggestions, and it also displays some of your friends, people that you're friends with that are live. So, and you can also do this, pick for me. I've never done that. That makes me nervous because I like to have control of who I raid. But yeah. So if you don't even know who to raid, you could do that. So, but it gives you suggestions. You could also toggle it over to new sellers. See that? So click new sellers and it will show you anyone that's new that's live. So that's how you raid. And then you just, once you've got that set, you just click on it and it brings up that little window on your screen and it asks you if you're ready, and then you go. So it's as easy as that. So down arrow, click the create a raid. All right, so back to scheduling lots of shows. Just super important thing. That's why it's my number one tip. So, oh, you couldn't figure out how to end. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so it's just that little down arrow, and your three options are minimize, raid, or end. So there you go. And I would say, so, well, first of all, does everyone know that you can create multiple shows at the same time? So if you're scheduling a show and let's say that you've decided you can go live every Wednesday at 5 p.m. And that's when you're going to have a regularly scheduled show. So when you schedule that show, you can actually schedule up to 10 shows on your schedule with those same settings once a week, Wednesday at 5 p.m. for 10 weeks. So the way that you do that is you go into your account and you hit the plus sign that's right there. You just hit that little plus sign and then schedule a show. And when you start to schedule your show, the date option, when you're in the date, you pick your date and everything. And then underneath where you can put moderators, it says does not repeat. Right? Well, if you click the down on that, you can change that to it does repeat daily, weekly, or monthly. So if you want to create a weekly show, just change that repeat to daily, weekly, or monthly. And then you can schedule multiple shows. And then once you click that on, so I'm going to click it onto weekly, it pops up this other little thing that says every 1 week. Maybe you want it weekly, but every 2 weeks. You can change that. And then after number of shows is the next thing, after a certain number of shows. So you can create, so play with that and just make sure you have everything in there that you want set up correctly so that you don't have to go modify them all if you screwed up. So have it all in there correctly. And then it will schedule up to 10 shows with those same settings. And then if you need to move one of those 10 shows, you just open that specific show and edit that show and make it what you need it to be. All right. Hopefully that's a good tip for a few of you that didn't know that that was possible. But that makes scheduling shows really easy, and that makes it it makes it so you can just easily fill your schedule with a lot of shows. And you can always go in and change the thumbnail, the picture. You can go in and change the title. You can go in and change the date, the time, whatever. So it works best if you already know, that you're going to have a consistent schedule. But even if you don't, you can go in and change things around, but already have them in there for people to start bookmarking, because bookmarking your shows is how people find you. So that's important. And yes, I'm on my treadmill. If you're joining, welcome in. This is my way to get my exercise in and commit myself, because I'm scheduled to sit and chat with you, or not sit, to walk and chat with you. So welcome to my walk and talk. And I do this every Tuesday and Thursday mornings. And these shows are being live broadcasted or multicasted onto Facebook and YouTube. If you look in the show notes, my YouTube channel is Draz on Whatnot. So if you would go to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can rewatch any of these past shows, because they will be now saved on YouTube. Because we used to have access to past shows on Whatnot, we no longer do. So the workaround is that we multicast onto YouTube so that you can go rewatch the shows on YouTube. Oh, thank you, Shiwi. So, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have a YouTube channel that is public and you subscribe on there, I will subscribe back, because I'll see, it shows you anyone that has subscribed that also has a public channel. So if you're trying to grow your YouTube subscriptions, that's a way, tell people your YouTube. Make sure in your profile that you have your social media accounts listed, and encourage people to follow you on your social media accounts. So like on my profile, I've got listed there, please follow on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, Draz on Whatnot. So it shows you there in my profile, and I encourage everyone to do that. Let's see, I don't see the repeat option on my phone or PC, maybe an Apple thing. Can anyone else confirm that if you can't repeat on Android? I thought you could. So you do on your PC? Okay. So I was pretty sure that everyone could, either on Apple or on PC. So yeah, it's just it is kind of, you have to watch for it. So again, let me show you. Click schedule a show, and then right under, so you've got the name, the date, and the moderators, and it's the very next thing where it says does not repeat. It kind of doesn't make sense. It should say something like, do you want to repeat, or whatever. And so it says does not repeat. That's the default, but you open it up and then you can change it to daily, weekly, or monthly. Okay, so it's not there on your PC either. Huh. Yeah, reach out to customer service and ask, because I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure if it's not on Android. I thought it was, because that's an old thing that we've been able to do for a long time. And I don't think there's anything in settings that changes that. So maybe update your app on both places and see if it shows up, and then reach out and ask. Because as far as I know, it should be there. Let's see. Did I miss any comments here? I'm just checking. Okay. So, oh, you found it. Okay. Oh, you were looking at one that you already booked. Oh, okay, good. I was like, I'm pretty sure it should be there. So good. Okay. Phew. Hey, House of Goods, welcome in. And Rachel, welcome. All right. So another thing, everybody, please open the show notes and make sure you take a screenshot if you haven't in the past. Take a screenshot of those show notes of those 4 starred bullets. Those are really important reminders of where you can go to get help. So the first star bullet is the account for Whatnot Sellers, and they do community focused shows on the account called Whatnot Sellers. Let me show you that account. So you just go to the home page, the For You page, and type in Whatnot Sellers. And it comes up, and it's the official Whatnot account. This is what it looks like. Make sure you're following that account and that you bookmark their shows. Tomorrow, they're doing a product spotlight, and they're going to talk about some updates in certain categories. And then they have a show scheduled for the 16th, and they're going to be doing an interview with Renarda, one of the sellers. And on the 23rd, they're talking about, that one they're going to interview someone. They haven't specified who yet. And then they've got shows bookmarked out through the end of May. So make sure you bookmark all those shows and get notification when they go live, because they're really, really good shows to watch, because you get lots of good information about updates. You also get lots of good tips from the sellers that they interview. Some of the really successful sellers come on and share, what they've done. And it's like, where else better to get tips than someone who's been very successful on the app? And I've listened to a lot of those and just really gotten some good ideas and tips from a lot of those sellers. So make sure you're following that account. They also give away swag during those shows, so it's fun. You can sometimes pick up a nice Whatnot logoed item from those shows. So make sure you're following that account and bookmark those shows. All right. And then also in the show notes, the second bullet is Seller Academy. If you haven't gone through the Seller Academy tutorials and you're new, please, 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 I'm begging you, go watch all the videos, go read all the information in Seller Academy, do your due diligence and learn the app so that you aren't screwing things up for yourself by not learning how to do the app. And then the third star bullet is help.whatnot.com. So anytime you have a question about something specific, type in the topic. It'll bring up all the articles that are related to what you typed in, and you can usually find what you need. And then Whatnot does have a blog at blog.teamwhatnot.com. They publish articles about updates, about the app, about the news, about different things. Lots of good information there, good articles. So make sure you go and check out the app, or the blog, sorry. All right. And thanks for joining, everyone. Who did I not shout out? Well, it looks like it's adding us all back in here. Go Vintage with Bree is here. Good morning. And Cole's new to you is here. Beachy Bean dropped back in, as so did I. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. All right, so let's talk again about some of the tips on my top 10 tip list. We were talking about scheduling shows. We showed how to schedule multiple shows. And Yeah, just have shows scheduled, you guys. That's hugely important. It's my number one tip because that's how you get found. That's how you get found. That's how you get bookmarks. That's how you get followers. That's how you grow your account, is by having shows so that people can find you. Shows scheduled. Okay. Number one tip. Number two is go live. You need to start going live and go live as much as you possibly can to start growing on the app. That's how you get, that's the thing about this app. If you expect to come on here and go live just every once in a while, which you can do, but you're not going to grow very fast if you don't go live often. So have a consistent schedule, go live as much as you can if you want to grow. Okay. Number three, get a lot of items listed in your shop, in your auctions, and in your buy it now. How do people know what you have available if you have nothing listed? Okay, think about that. It's kind of like going into a store, a brick and mortar store, and you walk in and there's nothing in the store. It's empty. Are you going to stay? No, there's nothing there. If you have to stand in the store and ask them what they have, and have them slowly bring stuff out from a back room, are you going to want to shop in that store? No. You've got to have stuff listed. You've got to have things in your auctions. You've got to have things in your buy it now. What do you consider often? Do you think once a week is enough? So KMC, it just depends on what your goals are. If you want to grow fast and furious and go full time on whatnot, you got to go live like 5-6 times a week. If this is a passive, I'm just here to have fun and make a little bit of money to support my buying habits, then yeah, go live every great once in a while, go live once a month, go live once a week. It just depends on your goals. So, it just depends on how fast or how passive this is for you. So I always tell people, write down what you want out of the app. Write down why you decided to apply to sell. And then make sure that what you are doing is aligned with your goals, and be realistic about it. If you signed up to sell because you really want to go full-time reselling, then you need to do everything you can in your power to make that happen. And when you're full-time, you've got to put in full-time kind of hours, right? So it just depends on your goal. Let's see. Stay Home to Shop says, is there a way to organize our marketplace listings so that they are clustered by related? Not at this time, but that has been requested, to be able to sort things by categories. So that is, at least, something that they're working on, I would say, because it definitely has been requested. Because a lot of us feel that same way, that it's like, yeah, we have all these things listed, but there's no way for people to really search through it other than to type in something and hope you find something, or scroll, right? And neither are very effective. So KMC says, I have a full-time job and also sell on other platforms. So trying to figure out how it will all look. Yeah. And that's probably most people's reality, right? Because you got to support yourself, and you can't come onto an app like this necessarily. Most people can't, and just go full buster, go full gangbusters on it and start making a full-time living. It's just not everybody's reality. But I will tell you that, this is how it went for me. Okay. Now I've been on the app since August of 2022. started selling in November of 2022. I wish I had not waited those 2 months. Back then, 2 months was like a year of trajectory because it was a brand new app. But so I've been on long enough that, I've been able to ride the curve of exponential growth. But honestly, Whatnot is still in its infancy. How many people have you talked to that have never heard of the app? It's still in its infancy. There's still a lot of room for growth. And so it's still an amazing, amazing opportunity. And I think you will find that compared to all other platforms, Whatnot has the most potential for success. It doesn't mean it's the best platform for everything you want to sell, but it has the best, what am I trying to say? It has the most potential for you to be able to do things differently than any other platform. So, you have to figure it out and decide what's going to work for you. So Stay Home to Shop says the fewer shows, the more items need to be sold, and all at higher prices. The fewer shows, the more items need. Yeah, that's true. Right. In order for you to, have what you need to be able to feel like it's worth your time, right? Yeah. All right. And let's see. So yeah, it just depends on what is going to work for you. So write down some really heartfelt goals of what you want to achieve, and then put your focus, as much of the time that you have focused on what's going to achieve those goals you have. And you you just kind of have to figure that out for yourself. All right, number 3 we were talking about is getting things listed, because you've got to have something for people to see to know if they want to stick around for what you have. So always have things listed. And I think when you're new, it's really, really important to have some things listed in your auction tab, pre-listed, ready to sell, so that for a couple of reasons. One, it gives people a look at what you've got. 2, it makes the auction go a lot smoother because you've got everything already there listed. You can just run the items and show them. And instead of having to, figure out what you're going to even show and run, right? And also, you can get pre-bids that way. So if you have everything loaded and everyone can see in advance what you're going to run, you have a chance that people will actually come in and pre-bid on some items, which is then a guaranteed sale once you run it. So definitely have items pre-listed. I would say a good 20, 30 items gives you enough for an hour. And then, the audience usually kind of rotates in and out. And so you can, go back through items you've already shown and run before if they didn't sell. And then you can always have more inventory and run them under generic listings that just have a weight. So always have some generic listings in your auction that can be run by weight, so that you can sell other items that you didn't necessarily have pre-listed. Okay. Yeah, Wildflower says, I was so thankful for my pre-listings, especially because I couldn't figure out how to add a new listing during the live show. Yeah. And honestly, adding a listing during a live show sucks, because some people are masters at it, but it's just clunky. You have to sit there and go through all their little prompts, and it takes a minute, and everybody's bored while you're trying to do that. So let's see. I was on the Poshy app for shows, and this one is much better. Yeah. So other platforms are adding go live, but my understanding is, it's just not the same. So Definitely much better over here. And I've been on a lot of other platforms, but I've never gone live on the other selling platforms. I do go live on Facebook and YouTube, but I'm multicasting from Whatnot. So that's another thing to look up. If you have enough of a following on Facebook and or YouTube. I don't know what the requirement is on Facebook, but on YouTube you have to have at least 50 subscribers, and then you can go live on YouTube. I do hear people having a lot of success going live on TikTok, but TikTok is not automated through Whatnot. So if you want to go live on TikTok, you would have to have a separate device open, and you could stream on TikTok at the same time that you're streaming on Whatnot, although you would have to interact with both audiences. So that's kind of tough. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of features here. It's very rich in being able to do live shows compared to other platforms. So Coles News says, I'm located in central Illinois, just outside of St. Louis. Anyone close to me? Where is everyone else located? Stay Home to Shop is in St. Louis. So there you go. Hey, Kim's welcome in, and the Medic welcome in, or TH Medic. So Deckery is from California. Welcome. If I missed some of you coming in, welcome. So I lost my moderator. She went back to work full time. I'm bummed. Lovely Pinto is amazing, and she decided to go back to work full time. So she's not going to be able to moderate for us anymore, which is so sad. And but she's still going to sell. She wasn't like a super regular seller anyway. She just likes to destash her fabric from time to time, and she's still going to do that probably on every Saturday when she gets back into the flow of work. I think she has a couple of shows scheduled for beginning of May, beginning of June, and then we'll see. So those of you who love Lovely Pinto's fabric, which she has amazing fabric that she destashes, she will still be around. So KMC is in central New York. YTTC is in Virginia. And let's see, Kim's is here from Kentucky. Awesome. I'm in Utah. It's snowing today. April 1st. Nature is playing April Fool's on us. We thought it was spring. Just kidding. It really is snowing. So much fun. All right. Anyone have any April Fool's plans? That used to be a big thing when I was a kid, to play jokes on people, but less and less people are less tolerant of April Fool's jokes. Let's see. Snow on the ground here this morning too in central New York. Oh, okay. That's far away, but obviously you guys are having some of that retro spring. FYI, Joann's is selling all their furniture and craft tables. I got an amazing sturdy standing table for future shows. Oh, that's awesome. Wildflowers. Remind me where you're at. I went into my Joann's locally the other day just to peek, and they still have everything at 20% and lots of stuff in the store and nothing marked down really more than that. So I was like, oh, but that's great. But yeah, maybe the furniture stuff would be good. Better pricing, huh? So everyone, please give Decoreed a follow live from the thrift store today. And you also do athletic and premium streams with Lulu. Aritza, and more. So everybody give Decreed. How do you say your name? Decareed? Decareed. I'm guessing that's the right way, right? Anyway, let's see. So everybody give them a follow and go bookmark that show. Bargain Bin Bonanza, snow in northern Nevada. Yeah, I knew it was pretty messy in Utah and Nevada. So northern Nevada, let me picture where that would be. Northern Nevada. Tell me where you live. I know Nevada pretty well. So let's see. Yeah, I'll have to go check again and see if they have anything. I love Live Thrift too. Let's see. Same. I didn't buy their products, just the table and chairs. Yeah. De-archivist and I pranked her live stream by starting a rumor she was hired by a different platform. Forgot which one already. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So wait, you pranked De-archivist by saying that, or so you pranked D? I'm getting okay. That's funny. Oh, Carson City. Yeah, that's a beautiful area. I actually have a good friend that lives in that area. Oh, I can call you D, but it's pronounced like the first syllable in December. So Desiree. Desiree. Oh, kind of like Desiree, but Desiree. That's cute. So sunny and 44. So sunny, but 44 is kind of cold. See, Angie Signs, welcome in. Well, when you explained it that way, it made sense to easier to pronounce. So yeah. Good morning. So my name is kind of boring. Draz, it's my first initials, and the AZ actually stands for Arizona. I live in Utah, but we lived in Arizona for 30 years. And my parents are both from Arizona. My husband's from Arizona, and I consider Arizona, even though it's not where I was born, I consider it second home. And it's where I wish I lived. So I love Arizona. I want to go back there. Life has just not brought me back there yet. So I'm working on it. Oh, you lived in Clarkdale, Arizona for 15 years. Ooh, and Desiree, I'm jealous. You're going to be in Arizona this week for a race. What kind of race? That's cool. Yeah, and I was hoping maybe we could go to Arizona this week because my daughter's on spring break. Our youngest is a senior in high school. She graduates this year, and she's on spring break, but it just didn't work out. So I'm kind of bummed because now I wish we were in Arizona because we have snow on the ground. But such is life. Yeah, it is the best time of year to be there, early spring. The weather's gorgeous usually, and so much better than here, for sure. Welcome in Summer Starts and Lynn Downs. Welcome. Thanks for joining. So everybody make sure you check the show notes. So you're going to be helping your boyfriend complete a 300-mile ultra marathon race across Arizona. Very cool. So an inaugural year for this event. What's it called? Because we lived in Tucson for years and years, and Tucson has that amazing bike. What is it called? Of course, it came into my mind and went right back out. Anyway, they have this amazing bike event. So the Cocoons 250. Oh, I'll have to look it up. That's going to be some amazing scenery. So are you going to do the drive along with him? So very cool. Oh, Arizona Monster 300. Oh, thank you for the raid, Rapper Sales. How are you today? How's it going? Thanks for joining and for raiding. So, one of my tips on my tip list is to always raid. And I pretty much see everybody always doing that. But if you're new, please make sure you know how to raid, because that's one of the best ways to get your name out there, get some recognition, get someone to shout you out, thank you profusely, etc., etc. So learn how to raid. I showed you guys earlier. It's pretty simple. You just hit the down arrow, and instead of ending, set up a raid. So you'll be driving throughout the course. Awesome. Yeah, Arizona has some beautiful, beautiful scenery. A lot of people think Arizona is just desert, and that's totally not the case. The desert is amazing, especially in the Tucson area with the saguaro cactus and the two different. On both sides of Tucson, you have the desert parks, the Saguaro National Parks, and then you have the wildlife preserves, and you've got just some amazing scenery there. And Tucson actually has a ski resort in the mountains right above Tucson. If you didn't know that, it's not the greatest one, but because it's really steep. But Mount Lemmon, right outside of Tucson, is quite high and has a ski resort. And then you've got the White Mountains that run through northern Arizona. And in between, you have beautiful cities. Phoenix is basically HE double toothpick. Let's face it, it's hot there pretty much year round. But there's some amazing, amazing scenery in Arizona. So enjoy that trip. Let's see. Mark Zuckerberg bought a double XL high school athletic t-shirt for $4,095 in an online auction, not an April Fool's joke. Wow. Who got so lucky to have him come in and buy the t-shirt? Or was that here or on a different platform? That's amazing. Holy cow. So he must have found like a t-shirt from his high school or something, huh? Or on a different platform. Okay. I know, right? It's like, welcome, Mark. You're welcome anytime. But that's crazy that something got bid up that high and that was even, valued at that much. Oh, used in a movie. Oh, okay. So it was one that was used in a movie. All right. So yeah, I guess you need to do research and find out what high school celebrities went to and try and find vintage shirts. Right? There you go. So it's amazing what the rich and famous can do, right? If you want a t-shirt from the school you went to, dang it, you can afford to buy it for $4,095. Let's hope it doesn't shred and fall apart the minute he puts it on. So, all right, welcome in everybody. So I was just going through some of the things on my top 10 tips for sellers that I have pinned. If you haven't screenshotted that before, just tap the little picture of the document on your screen, boom, make it big, tap it again, and take a screenshot of that list. It's just like the 10 commandments of things you should be doing to be successful on this app, things you should be doing consistently. And we were talking about 1, 2, and 3. Number 4, stay live for at least one is the minimum. The minimum. I would suggest that your first few shows you stay on for at least 2 or 3 hours. That's the only way you're going to start getting traction. Because when you're new, it's hard for people to find you. And if you don't stay on long enough, they never will find you. So make sure you stay live long enough to get found. And then after that, usually you'll want to stay live, however long you can to get, a good sales. And on the app, people rotate in and out. And so often the people that were in your show for the first hour, you have a completely different audience in the second and third hour. And you can rerun the same things a couple of times and still get some sales. So make sure you stay on long enough to get found. So yeah, YTC, invite him. He might surprise you. Yeah, probably doesn't even know about Whatnot, maybe, right? I was talking about that earlier. I think Whatnot still is in its infancy as far as, because some platforms like the Bay, now it's a kind of a household word, so to speak, right? But Whatnot is not yet there. And so you haven't hit that plateau of, and if you've ever taken a marketing class, you know how they talk about trajectory of a business growing, and then you plateau. And then if you have some, certain things that are a cash cow, you want to you want to stay on this trajectory as long as possible, and then not plateau for a long, 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 long time. And then when you plateau, if you have a cash cow of merchandise or way you do things, you want that plateau to draw out as long as possible. Well, we're still way down here on that upward trajectory, because until Whatnot becomes a household, platform name that everybody knows, we're still in our infancy. And so the opportunity on here still is amazing. So everybody take heart that you're still finding Whatnot in its infancy, and the room for growth is still huge. Yeah. So there's a blog post that Whatnot published, I want to say fall of last year is my best guess, that it was an article that was based on a survey that they sent around to all the sellers. And whoever responded, they used the statistics from that to write this article. And it made me feel so good about being on Whatnot. So definitely go check out the blog. The blog address is in the show notes, and read the articles there. Stay Home says it will eventually be a Super Bowl ad and Whatnot. You want to buy something just like the Yahoo commercial. Yeah, exactly. And I have had people start telling me that they've been seeing Whatnot ads on different things. Has anyone seen a Whatnot ad? I actually saw one on a where was I? I was searching on Google for storage auction sites one day. This has been a while back, but it popped up an ad for Whatnot, because people sell in storage locker category. So we says on Insta, okay? My daughter saw one the other day and was excited to tell me, but I don't remember where she saw it. Okay, yeah. So they are advertising. And here's the other thing too. Everyone do me a favor, and sometime this week go on to Google and search for a specific item that you have listed. So on Google. So go into Google and just, type in a description of what you have, something you have listed, and see if it comes up. Because I've actually done that on a couple of things I've listed, and it does come up in Google. So they are, Whatnot is, maximizing for search in Google, which is awesome, because if someone's looking for something specific, we want them to come to Whatnot for that item, right? So just like you can Google search and it will take you to, eBay or Etsy or Amazon or whatever, where some specific merchandise is, it will bring you to Whatnot. What was the one item? Let me think what I searched. What did I search? I can't even remember. Stay home to shop. It was just something because I was like, oh, I wonder if that comes up. And so I searched it, and sure enough, and in fact, it was the first thing listed. And I didn't use super specific. I just typed in like, such and such item. And it was the very first thing that popped up as far as items available. So, what was it that I searched for? It probably was some kind of fabric because that's mostly what I sell. So, it was probably fabric. Let me think. Oh, it was fabric because I had some yardage of some Amy Butler Free Spirit fabric that's from the Charmed collection, and it's one of the out of print fabrics that's harder to find. And I typed that in, and my listing popped up first, and then there were a couple of other listings. So if someone was looking for that fabric, they were going to find it. Yeah, it was an item I had in Buy It Now. So it has to be something you have available in Buy It Now, I think. Yeah. Do you sell quite a bit from, let's see, so you sell quite a bit from your Buy It Now inventory? Yes, but not outside of lives, honestly. I don't think Whatnot is there as far as a marketplace that people will come to buy outside of lives as much as it is about lives. So that's why I tell people if you don't want to go live, this probably is not the platform for you, because the marketplace, it's like Stay Home to Shop was saying, can we please get, some way to organize what you have in your shop? There's no real good organization in the marketplace yet, because people can come to your profile and see what you have listed, but there's no way to sort it or search it really very easily yet. And so it's not, can you find things? Yeah, but it's just not super organized. So I do sell a lot out of my Buy It Now, but usually during live shows. And then every once in a while, someone will buy something off of my marketplace outside of a live show. So, yeah. They do have an update coming, guys. That is, and I got an update about it the other day, but they didn't give a timeline. But they are beta testing it. I know that. Where you can do auctions that are not live. So it will be like the Bay, where you can list an item and have it be an auction, but it's an auction that's over a week's period of time or whatever, where people can go in and place bids, and then the winning bid after the week or whatever, the person wins. So non-live auctions are coming. They're beta testing it. I don't know the timeline for that, but yeah, it is there. Okay, so literally last week, I opened my mobile app and I was listing items, and you had the ability to do the scan, the UPC. And then yesterday, when I went on to add some items, it had disappeared. So I don't know if it came on and then they took it right back off. So you saw the option to do the non-live auction last time you listed. Oh, okay. So it was giving you the option to actually list a non-live auction, Shiwi? Oh, okay. And are you on Android or on Apple iOS? Because I don't think it's been giving me that option. I'll have to look again. You don't remember what device you were on. Okay. So interesting. I'll have to look. I wish that they would tell us more when they're releasing things. They usually do those update shows once a month at the beginning of the month. So that's the one that's scheduled tomorrow, but it looks like they're doing something specific with only category for coins and cards and stuff. So we'll see. Let's see. They have occasionally had the feature active, but probably for testing only. Yeah, my understanding was that it was beta test. So maybe they've released it. or they're still beta testing and Shiwi's in the beta test. I don't know. Because you do have in your, so everybody go to your account. If you go into your account on your mobile device and go to, let me see if I can show it. So go to Seller Hub and then account. And there is, let me find it, preferences. There's one of the preferences is seller tools. And if you have that turned on, it says turn this on if you'd like to test new seller tools. So I had that turned off. I turned it on to see if it did anything different. Does anyone know? But I think maybe that what that will do is if there is a new tool and they're testing it, you would have access to it. So interesting. So that's under preferences under your account. So anyway, I'm going to see if it does anything. All right, let's look again at the top 10 tips. We were talking about staying live. Number 5 is get feedback. Make sure you have good lighting, good sound, and a good internet connection. So I've watched a few new people have shows lately, and I felt like they hadn't had a practice show or a rehearsal show where they got that figured out first. So make sure you do some practice shows before you go live publicly to make sure all those things look good and sound good and that your internet's good. So, oh, you don't see it now. So now it's gone. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. So, yeah, I was in a show the other day and you couldn't hear the person at all. Hardly. I mean, you could hear like very faintly, and I had my phone turned all the way up. And so I don't know where they had their phone positioned or what, but it's like, this is not working. We can't hear you at all. And I was like, surely they had a rehearsal show or a practice show, and someone told them they couldn't be heard. So make sure you do that. Just invite, your someone in your family or a friend or somebody to go on live from a different location and do a practice show to make sure, all those things are good before you go live. There is an auctions slot for an auctions beta, but not an active feature. Huh. Yeah. And some of that lighting isn't good. Hard to tell. Yeah, it's hard to, here's the thing though, you should, as a new seller, ask people, can you hear me? Can you see the items? Is the lighting good? Can you hear me? Do all those things when you have a practice show and when you start going live the first times. People will be nice and tell you, and then you can have a chance to improve things so that you're not wasting your time doing shows that no one will stay in because they can't hear, see, etc. The shipping update enhancements, yes. So they have done some nice things with shipping that make it so much faster. So hopefully you've all noticed that. And so when you go in to do your shipping, I don't know, it used to be super glitchy, and sometimes you couldn't even get the label to pop up. And I don't know what, they did some things there so it comes up faster. And what else are you referring to specifically? But yeah, so it's a lot faster. I've been able to do my shipping a lot faster. Oh yeah, sometimes people move things around so much that it's wobbly or pixelated. Yeah. Usually if it's pixelating, it's their internet connection. But yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and if there's bad lighting, it's like, ugh. if you can't even see what people are showing, nobody wants to stay. So make sure you ask, because, people aren't going to really necessarily tell you unless you ask, but they'll be nice and tell you if you ask. So make sure you ask. Yeah. So how's the video on? Just ask people. Yep. What are the enhancements? I haven't shipped since Saturday. So I shipped yesterday. Well, it's just been over the last couple of weeks. They've just improved things, and the dashboard looks a little bit different. And when you pull up the label and do the edits, it's more consolidated. So yeah, consolidated functions. It looks better, makes it less like, yeah, all those things. So yeah. So yeah, whatever says, as a buyer, my shipping is so fast. I love it. Oh, good. Well, we try to ship same day or next day. So we do try to get our stuff out there fast. But I'm lucky because we live in Utah and our postal service here is awesome. And we don't have a lot of the problems that some of the other locations are having, because I guess there's some states where their distribution centers are really struggling to keep up, and people's mail is just getting delayed. So Sherry says, when I'm watching a show, if I can't see what they're doing, I will say something. Yeah, and you should. It's kind to say something. You don't have to be rude about it. You can just, tell them in chat, by the way, I'm having a difficult time seeing your items, Oh, Gypsy, you just got 1K followers. Congrats. That's awesome. Everybody give Gypsy Wears a follow and get her over that 1,000. In fact, in my show notes, I remind everybody to please follow everybody that's in chat. When you come into these shows, it's like, it's unlike when you're in someone's regular show. It's weird and awkward to ask, can you share? Can everyone follow me? But in these shows, that's what you should be doing. Following each other, bookmarking each other's shows, give each other that little boost you need, because not that the people in this show are necessarily your audience for the future, but they can give you that little boost of extra followers and extra bookmarks to get you over the hump of what you need to kind of start getting some traction. So make sure you do that for each other, because this is a community effort and a community platform where, we're so much better off by helping each other than we are trying to do it all on your own. So, because it is just as much about community and social networking and making friends and all that as it is about selling. So make sure you follow each other, bookmark each other's shows, support each other, by remembering, oh, I saw you in these different seller chats, and get to know one another that way. How do you handle things if someone is unhappy with their purchase? So you can request to do your own customer service. And if I were you, I would. And here's why. If you let Whatnot handle your customer service, then everything is out of your hands as far as how they respond to the person. If you have a customer messaging you and seeing that they're unhappy about something, try to do the little bit of a field test to see if they're just being scammy by requesting, kindly asking all the right questions. And then if you feel like they have a legitimate, concern or reason that they're unhappy, especially if it's very clear up front that you screwed up. If you screwed up, make it right, because you'll get a lot further along by admitting or, whatever, or just making right something you screwed up, than if you try to be, annoyed about it. Okay, so if you screwed up, fix it. So if you sent them the wrong item, or they've never gotten their package, or stuff like that, make it right. If they've never gotten their package, go through the tracking process, and and then refer to customer service to get them refunded if they never got it. If but they have to show some kind of proof, like the tracking shows that it's lost in Hawaii or something, right? How do you do your own customer service? You reach out to customer service and tell them that you want to do your own customer service, and they will turn it on for you. It's in beta test, and pretty soon they'll probably roll it out where most sellers are doing their own customer service. And it really isn't that, it's not like you take phone calls or anything. It just means that if someone clicks on, I need help with my order, you're going to get the message first and be able to respond to them before Whatnot customer service tries to deal with it. And then it gives you the opportunity to try and provide, the best customer service up front instead of them on the other hand. Okay. And what it does is when you go into your seller hub, if there's been anyone messaging that clicked on I need help with my order, you'll get the message and be able to respond. So, like, for example, I had someone the other day who bought something. It was the only item they bought. And what it was a flash sale item. And there's been some glitches with flash sales where people unintentionally were trying to bid on something, and it actually popped the flash sale up, and they bought the flash sale item inadvertently. And that's what happened. Because she was like, I didn't even know that that this happened. So I was like, no worries. And I just, requested a refund and told her to keep it, because it was just some little item I was flash selling out of my buy it now, and she inadvertently clicked on it. So, and I had no reason not to believe her. So, does it show on your sales? Let me see. Let me catch back up here. Does it show on your sales that the item is shipped? Well, yeah, and it gives you the tracking. Because when you print the label, it gives you the tracking. So you can click on that tracking and see, what it's showing. So, but yeah, it just gives you an opportunity. So, to respond and try and make it right. And you can make it right by offering a partial refund, a full refund, a coupon for the next time they come shop, whatever you feel like is right. Okay. So Trish says, I'm a buyer currently. I received my box and the shelf was broken. I reached out to seller and she was very short with me and said to contact Whatnot. Okay. Yeah. And see, that's not very good customer service. And what are the chances that you're going to go back to that seller? So, and if they aren't providing their own customer service, the truth is that she can't do a whole lot other than to tell you to contact them. But yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Whereas I had someone who, let me think what the scenario was, that contacted me. Oh, I know what it was. So they bought something from me, and when I was selling it, I was selling it with a lot with other items, and I thought it was exactly the same as something else or similar, And then when she got it and opened it, because it was something new in package, it was slightly different than what she expected. And I didn't realize it either. So she let me know. And I'm like, oh, that's such a bummer. So what I did is I just told her I'm going to find some of that other item. And when you come in next time, I'm going to send you some with your order for free. And she was thrilled. And that's what I did. And so she was happy, because she expected something. What got delivered wasn't exactly what she thought it was. And it was my screw up because I didn't look close enough or read close enough or whatever. And so I made it right. And then she comes back and buys from me still. So that's the best scenarios. You want people to continue to support you, and if you don't provide good customer service, they're less likely to come back and buy again, right? And another time, something got broken that I sold, and so I offered coupons. So I just said, because they were like, yeah, I can probably just glue it and it's fine. And I said, well, that's, because they offered to just do that instead of send it back or whatever. And so then I gave them a coupon for the next time they shopped. So, try to be kind about it, try to be nice about it. And here's the best thing for customer service, honestly. The best thing is try your very hardest to make sure that you have that you're describing things accurately, that you are not sending things with flaws. Try to make sure, everything is as it should be, and also be organized enough that you're not sending things, that you're not missing things out of people's orders or sending them the wrong stuff or, all of that, because that prevents, prevention is worth a lot up front, because then you're avoiding the cure, which is to have to fix it on the back end, right? So do all the things up front to try and make sure you're accurately describing, calling out any flaws, all that stuff beforehand, and then make it right. And I've actually been in shows selling something live and found a flaw as I was selling it and offered to let them cancel immediately or get a verbal they're okay with it and say it out loud so that in the video you have proof. So if you sold something, called out the flaw, and they still bought it and still want it, that's fine, but offer to cancel. And sometimes people will cancel, and that's fine, and you follow through and let them cancel, because you didn't notice the flaw till you were selling it live. I've had that happen a couple of times. I'll have some fabric or something, and I didn't notice that it had a little mark on it, or there was a cut out of it until I opened it up or something like that. So, yeah, just be honest. Be honest and forthright, and try to do the best you can up front so that you are preventing having to do customer service on the back end. So that's probably my best advice there. Yeah, and I agree, Trish. She could be more apologetic about it and could be nicer about it. And some people honestly shouldn't be selling online if they can't provide better customer service, and that it will come back to bite them, because people will stop shopping there if they start getting bad reviews, or people are getting orders and they won't go back and buy from them. So for sure. So yeah, and I always tell people, if you aren't someone who wants to provide good customer service and be nice, you probably shouldn't be selling online, because it's going to be too frustrating for you, if you're the kind of person that wants to just sell crap and not have to deal with it on the back end, go sell at the swap meet or the flea market, but don't sell online because you're going to need to be able to provide customer service. So, yeah, you bet. All right. So, does anyone have anything, any questions that you have? Put them in the chat with a question mark. If there's anything you want to ask about. You already talked about shipping. I am used to different shipping on a different site and tired of site costs. Yeah, so honestly, Whatnot has the best shipping rates other than free shipping, right? But really, if you're like on Amazon, you pay for Prime, so it's not really free, right? So Whatnot has amazing shipping prices. And if you can do, here's my thing about shipping on Whatnot. If 85-90% of what you sell is going to fit in flat rate packaging, and please do your due diligence and learn what flat rate packaging is. It's pretty basic. The post office offers boxes and packages for free under priority and under priority flat rate, and there is a difference between the two. I received a package the other day from a seller who's been on as long as I have, and it was a priority box. It was that little square priority box, but it was not a flat rate package. It wasn't marked flat rate. The label on the box was medium flat rate. I don't know how it got to me. It shouldn't have. I guess only because it probably was the same rate because it was under 5 pounds. So under 5 pounds, priority and priority flat rate are the same price, $9.21. Okay, know the difference between priority and priority flat rate. Okay, but if 90%, 85-90% of what you sell is going to fit in flat rate packaging, put your settings, your shipping settings at domestic 1 to 5 pounds flat rate, and then 5 pounds and over flat rate, and cost, shipping cost, $9.21 max, buyer pays. If you can do that. If what you sell is not going to fit in flat rate packaging, put your shipping settings at 1 to 5 pounds priority, 5 pounds and over ground advantage, and that's what's going to give your buyer, and buyer pays max cost. And that's what's going to give your buyers the best rates for shipping. Okay? And you have 5 free adjustments a week. So on the rare occasion, if you were doing the flat rate shipping, or on the occasion where someone buys more than will fit in a large flat rate box, that's a good problem to have. They bought a lot of crap, and you're going to be able to unbundle it and either put it in 2 flat rate boxes or change it over to turn off flat rate, change it over to ground advantage over 5 pounds, and put it in a larger box. Okay. Yeah, I don't think the post office is catching that either. I recently got a package that was mailed to me in a poly mailer from a large seller who knows better. And I bought 9 ounces worth of things according to their record. And the package weighed 24 ounces and should have been a priority or priority flat rate package. And it was labeled as ground advantage 9 ounces. And it came, I got it, but I don't know who pays the difference or if they just don't catch it, but I don't know if those get charged back to Whatnot. I don't know if they're just overwhelmed and don't catch it, but it was a package that weighed over a pound. In fact, it weighed 24 ounces. I weighed it because I picked it up and I happened to glance at the label because I knew what I bought. And I was like, I think I bought more than ground advantage weight. And I looked at the label and it said ground advantage 9 ounces. and I took it right over to my scale before I even opened it, weighed it 24 ounces, and I was like, what the heck, you know? And of course, they're getting away with it somehow, I think. I don't know. But I was like, inevitably, if I started doing that, I'm going to get caught. My packages are all going to get returned, and I'm screwed. So don't take that risk. Okay? Don't take that risk. Do them right. Put the right weights in there. Do the packages correctly. Make sure the label matches the box you have it in or the package you have it in. If it says Ground Advantage 9 ounces, it needs to weigh 9 ounces or less. If it's a package that's over a pound and you have it set for, priority or priority flat rate, the label needs to match. Okay. The USPS account with Whatnot allows underpaid packages to be electronically charged, but sometimes the post office will hold and require a buyer to pay. Yes, I know that happens for sure. Someone will get their package and it will say postage due, or they'll, be required to go pick it up from the post office and pay the postage due, and they can refuse it and have it, returned to you. So, but underpaid can be electronically charged back. So it's possible that those bigger sellers are having a lot of postage charged back to Whatnot, and Whatnot is going to be like, they might be in trouble with postage. So, yeah. And you do have sellers, larger sellers who sell in huge volumes that have their shipping settings set for either free shipping or they sell everything at the same weight because they're willing to pay the overage. But what I'm getting at is they should be still labeling it correctly, right? I've had UPS hold a package that someone sent me and I had to pay the difference of what the seller was short on. Yeah, so that does happen. Yeah. And that's horrible customer service. Are you going to go buy from them again? Probably not, because you're going to be like, if I buy from them, I'm going to have to pay to get my packages every time because they don't have their shipping settings set correctly. And, and maybe it's not malicious. Maybe they're not doing it on purpose. They just don't know what they're doing. And I would say a lot of times that's the case. They just don't know what they're doing. And they just are printing out the labels without actually weighing the package and checking to see, if it's correct. And it is a little bit confusing because Whatnot bundles your shipping, bundles the orders. And so you have to figure out how that works. So again, we're going to talk about that on the 23rd. Let me look again because I can never remember my own dang schedule without looking. So the 23rd, the 23rd, I'm doing a community seller help and chat where I'll be in front of the camera, and the title of that show is Don't Sink Your Shipping. So make sure you have that bookmarked if you're having struggles with shipping. And let me just pin really quick the shipping 101 guide again, which again, I've told you guys it's okay, but it's not detailed enough. It's too generic. I just pinned it. It does link you to, though, a lot of articles that can help you figure it out for sure. But honestly, the best thing in this document, so click on that picture of packages, open it up, and then swipe over. There's 3 pages that you can screenshot, and then there's a 4th page that looks like this. This is probably the most helpful thing in there because it really does kind of give you a visual of how to figure out what your shipping should be. One of the things they did in the full document was, what if you need to do custom shipping profiles? If If you don't know what that is, look it up. But custom shipping profiles are where you can enter your own profiles so that you can use them to specify how many items, how much weight, what type of package um, you're going to be using for that specific order, that specific item. And you can make it so if you have a big bulky item, it can only ship by itself and it won't bundle it with their other stuff. And you need to say when you sell that item, this item will ship by itself and will charge separately. Just make sure you have your, if you do custom shipping profiles like that, make sure that your shipping charges are not set to buyer pays max $9.21. Because if you do have it set that way, then no matter how many times it unbundles things, it will still be charging you as the seller for everything over $9.21. So if you're going to do custom profiles where it unbundles items, make sure it's set for buyer pays all shipping. That makes sense? Okay. How do you get to these pages? So you just click on your screen. I have that item pin. Oh, hang on. On your screen, I have that pinned. Just tap the picture of the packages, tap it again to make it big, and then just swipe, and you've got 3 pages of shipping tips. And then you have that little thing, and you can screenshot each page. So it's just the photos in that auction item I have listed. That's not really an auction item. It's just my way to be able to share lists and documents with you. Hey, Sasquatch Cells, you just unlocked Drasby. That means you've listened to me ad nauseum for too much time, right? All right. I need to get going, everyone. So if you have any further questions, go ahead and shout those out in the chat. And you're so welcome. And please, again, follow everybody that you don't recognize. And please go in and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's in the show notes. My YouTube is Draz on Whatnot. Draz on Whatnot. All lowercase, one word. Draz on Whatnot. And then you will be able to watch and rewatch these seller chats because I'm multicasting to YouTube. So go subscribe on there and bookmark the upcoming ones if you find these helpful. And hopefully that you do. And make sure you have that one for shipping on the 23rd bookmarked. I'm going to go out and find someone that we can raid. So if you have any last questions, put them in the chat. And while I go look for someone to raid into, let's see. I'm just going to check and see if anyone is doing a chat. Let's see. Just looking in categories here to see who we can raid. I should always look before, but I always forget to look before I start my show as to where I should go. So give me a second. Queenie, hey, welcome in. You've been paying bills. Ooh, that's no fun. And my cousin, talking to your cousin on the phone. Well, that's good. How are you doing today? Let's see. I'm looking for somewhere for us to go to raid. So I just wanted to see who else was on community. No one else is live that I know. So let's see. We'll probably raid into someone in my category. Let me just see who's live in my category. we're going to go to Deb Jam. She's live selling fabric. And yeah, if you don't mind bookmarking my show today, that would be awesome. We're selling quilting fabric today, Mary Engelbright, and some other awesome fabrics. And thank you so much for being here. And let's go right into Deb Jam. Here we go. And I didn't see any other burning questions. So here we go. All right, you guys, make it a great day. See you soon.